And now what I want to do, I want to tell you a story about an old Cajun who lived in the country, way in the country, in the marsh. He hadn't been to town but 3 or 2 times in his life, I don't reckon. And he was married. And I'll take a sip of this water. Some of that macaroni got stuck there. How y'all are? Hey, that good Cajun, yeah. Y'all all right today? I guarantee I'm glad for you to see me. And today...
Hey, y'all know how I like to tell my stories. Here's a legend who is the best storyteller anywhere around. I'm talking about Justin Wilson. He was one of my favorites, for sure. And here he is now with a great one.
And now what I want to do, I want to tell you a story about an old Cajun who lived in the country, way in the country, in the marsh. He hadn't been to town but 3 or 2 times in his life, I don't reckon. And he was married. And I'll take a sip of this water. Some of that macaroni got stuck there. And he and his wife lived alone. And he hunted and fished for a living. And she'd take it to the nearest settler and send it on to town. But they never went to town. They didn't have any reason to go to town. They had everything they needed. They raised everything they needed, caught everything they needed, killed everything they needed. And they were happy. And one day, one of these traveling tinker salesmen came by there with his wagon and his mule. And the man that owned the place went out and said, "Well, I don't need a thing. I don't think I need a thing." His wife had gone to help deliver a baby that was being born by at a neighbor's house. And he said, the tinker said, "Where's your wife?" He said, "She's gone." Well, he said, "Come on out here and I'll show you a few things you most probably never saw before, and I think you will enjoy seeing them." He said, "Can't you see them?" "Oh, man, come on out here. I want to show you some things." And he showed him all kind of stuff he'd pull off that wagon, show him this and show him that, and just really get the old fella interested in something. And he pulled out a mirror. And that old man had never seen a mirror in his life, I guarantee. So he showed him the mirror. And he looked in that mirror and he said, "I'll be damned. That's a picture of my old pappy. God, dog. I guarantee I got to have this picture." And the tinker man kept hearing him talk about that picture of his pappy. He said, "Would you like to buy that picture?" "Oh, yes, I'd love to." "How much it is?" Old tinker man said, $10, $10. "I got to go and see if I can find some money in the house." So he went where he knew his wife would hide the money in the sugar bowl. And he took $10 out of that. Went back out there. Excuse me, my nose is athletic, runs every now and then. And he took that $10 out and he paid the man. Oh, he said, "Man, I'm glad to get this." Well, the tinker said, "Thank you, certainly. I'm glad you got it." And he left because he knew he better leave. He left, and the man didn't want his wife to see what he'd spent her $10 on. So he went into the barn, and in the hayloft there, he hid his picture underneath some hay. And he left it there. The next day, he went out there. She came home that night. Next day, he'd go out there and he'd look at it every now and then and talk about his old pappy. He kept it up for about a week, sneaking out there and pulling that picture out from underneath the hay and taking a look at his old pappy. And his wife got kind of suspicious, you know. So she went out there and found out what he was doing. She saw where he reached underneath that hay. So she reached underneath there when he left and pulled that mirror out and looked at it and says, "Well, that's the old hussy you've been messing around with, I guarantee."